This is Miss McMurray again. This is BBB, Beginner's Business Bloopers. Hope you got your popcorn out for this episode. I know in the past episode I've been talking about children, family members, spouses, and the do's and don'ts. A lot of times when people start a business, they just hear these different speakers. You can claim your family, you can do this, but they never get down to the nitty-gritty. What is your responsibility? How you should do it. Yes, you can hire your family members. Yes, your family member can be the boss and hire their family members, or vice versa, the parent, the spouse. These are issues that we never get down and dirty, but it always seems to be a conflict because someone either forget to pay the person that's doing all the work, or once a family member begins working, they feel like that they are the main source of the business and they should get more because you just started the business, but you ain't doing nothing in the business. Oh, it's so many arguments. Some may fight behind who spent the most on the cost of keeping up the business. But let's get it narrowed down to family employees to let you know. This is small details. Child employed by parents. Payments for services of child under age 16 who works for his or her parent in a trade or business aren't subject to Social Security and Medicare tax. If the trade or business is sole proprietorship or a partnership in which each partner is a parent. Each partner is a parent of the child. If these payments are for work other than in a trade or business, such as domestic work in the parent's private home, they're not subject to Social Security and Medicare tax until the child reaches ages 21. See, catch that. Did you catch that? Or did you just assume because you got a building that those rules apply? If these payments are for work other than in a trade or business, such as domestic work in parents' private home, they're not subject to Social Security and Medicare tax until child reaches age 21. However, they tell you to see what's covered services of child or spouse. Now, this information is written by the IRS in the publication 15. And as I said in other episodes, it's always good before starting a business to grab these free materials so you can run your business correctly. Don't listen to the person that's been in the business for up 10 years or the one thing that they know they've been doing it themselves. Find out for yourself. Because the only person that's going to be held responsible is you when IRS come knocking at your door or the state come sending you letters or summoning you to court because you didn't do your part on paying taxes. Payments for the service of a child under age 21 who works for his or her parent, whether or not in trade or business, for his work are subject to FUTA tax. Payments for service of a child of any age who works for his or her parent are generally subject to income tax withholding unless the payments are for domestic work in the parent's home, or unless the payments are for the work other than in a trade or business and are less than $50 in the quarter, or the child isn't regularly employed to do such work. Under $50, catch that king. Now, the one spouse employed by another, the wages for the services of an individual who works for his or her spouse in trade or business are subject to income tax withholding and Social Security and Medicare taxes, but not to FUTA tax. However, the payments for the services of one spouse employed by another in other than a trade or business, such as domestic service in a private home, aren't subject to Social Security, Medicare, and FUTA taxes. So when I'm emphasizing this, you want to get a clue the location that the government state, because sometimes People feel like they get in the building or they get big and they get in the building, or they leasing, that the same rules apply in the house that it does in a brick and mortar building. So, the covered services of a child or spouse. The wages for the service of a child or spouse are subject to income tax withholding, as well as Social Security, Medicare, and FUTA tax if he or she works for a corporation, even if it's controlled by the child's parent or the individual spouse. A partnership, even if the child parent is a partner, unless each partner is a parent of the child. So you got to catch these little clues. Because a lot of times we sit up there and say, oh, I can do this and I can do this because it say so. The source, and the source is the person that the income belongs to. So it's called accountability, but can you change things? You can change things. You can refile your return if nobody has told you. Even if you was billed and you didn't file and they said you owe, you can dispute. You can file back. But don't complain if you know you didn't do right. Now, if you did something fraudulent, that's something that you just owe. Stop blaming the IRS on every little error that you make because you failed to change your forms and say that you have 2 or 3 or more jobs and you didn't report all the income. Hey, get with the program. I'm just saying, I did say that I will touch bases on family independence, and so I've touched on that. And I've talked about partnership, but what I always want to tell you about is about starting a business, or even if you already in business, or even if you hadn't started the business. My podcast is about a little bit of everything. And my thing is, stop telling your dreams and aspiration goals. And I've said that in the beginning, protect your thoughts, ideas, and business plans, because even though you think that someone has your back, when you don't act upon something, you're giving them full right to act upon your ideas, and you're sitting there not doing anything. So sometimes it's best to bite your tongue. Be quiet about what you plan until you do it, until you protect it. Most definitely want to protect everything. I don't care if they're billionaires. You give them their ideas. They're not going to do nothing but go and take your ideas. You write down. Yeah, I've been a couple of workshops. You give them ideas and you look up a couple of months. Something that you may have spoke about. It ended up, they took it because by law, they have it right because you didn't protect yourself. Protect yourself. Protect everything that you invest in. Okay, so enough of that. We want to talk about solicitors. Solicitors, starting a business. This is a blooper. Don't think that I have not been there. I have been there. You just don't understand. And knowledge is power. And everyone is not going to tell you. There will be solicitors knocking on your door, or they may show up at your business because they know that you're new in town. What you want to do about it? Every solicitor is not a good solicitor. For every solicitor that comes, there's another solicitor for another company. Do your research. Do not give out money. Do not write checks. Do not make a payment till you verify that they're a legit person. And then hold off and get all your offers for the same type of service. Do not jump on board because they have a dream, an idea for you. I mean, from the electric company to the water company to the gas company, the satellite company, everybody have a solicitor. Even the people that's your third party, people that you don't even know. They will come knocking at your door. Do not take rational ideas. Do not do something because the next tenant done it. Do your research and find out about the best interest rate, the best plan, the best contracts. Do you want to be in a contract? I would suggest do never commit to a contract if you're in a lease agreement. That's just my opinion. Because anything can happen within 6 months of you doing business. It's not guaranteed that you're going to be there. Anything can happen. Life and death happens all the time. Things happen. Your business can go south. You can go get in the hospital. So think about the contracts you get into. Make sure you do the minimum as possible. If you can get a 5-year contract on a lease agreement, it's not guaranteed that you're going to be there 5 years. That's what your hopes and dreams are. But is it a good idea? Do you have the funding to support that 6-year or 5 months or 3 month lease or 2-year or 1-year lease? Do you have enough money to cover the full cost or at least the first 6 months? If you do not, think twice unless you know for sure that you got guaranteed income. Time and time again, you see a lot of businesses that set up shop, they'll close back down because they have a dream. They think their product going to work. They grind and hustle, but sometimes location is not their best suit. Sometimes their personality is not the best suit. Sometimes they customer service is not the best suit, and they thinking it is. Sometimes your whole persona can turn away a customer. Sometimes you may have to use someone else's face to be able to get your product out there. Believe it or not, it happened. I don't care how big or small. Phone advertisements, you would get that, by the galore. Don't trust them because sometimes they may not be their legit thing. Verify before you give out any information. And sometimes they'll tell you they can promise you more clients. You would have programs to come in and say, hey, I got these other businesses that I want you. I see that you got high ratings, you got 5 stars, and there's companies up the street. And what you do, this is a tip. Anytime somebody trying to sell you some advertisements to be on their website or their t-shirts, no matter where it is, on their radio station, what you need to do, and they talk about some other companies, you need to go verify those other companies, see where their ratings are. Because your ratings may be helping them get their clients. Have you ever thought about that? It ain't necessarily about you all the time. Sometimes your ratings, even when you lease into a place for your business, you can go in a 2.0 and you may have a 5-star. As soon as your business enter there, their ratings start going up. So if there's a improvement in business, in a certain type of business, it helps. It all is a domino effect. So don't think it's all about you. And some ratings are hard to beat unless you are determined to change every tenant's mindset or the way you doing business. And hopefully they like to, without you saying, then they'll start doing the way you do business, and it'll change the outcome. Sometimes it don't. Sometimes you can get a horrible tenant that may be envious because you're minding your business and you're doing what it is to get your clients in there, and they're doing everything to destroy it. You have different type of personalities in the world. Don't think that you're the only one that don't have conflicts. There's conflicts out here, but what are you going to do to rise above it? And remember, your ratings are always important. So remember your ratings. And every time a customer do a review, it impacts not just your business, it impacts where you lease at. That's real talk. No one never talk about that. Learn how to get a better review. Sometimes Google will call you and tell you, hey, if you get 2 or 3 more reviews, this will get you up to 1 more point. There's so many reviews, good reviews, to get you to a report. It only takes about 1 or 2 reviews to lower your score, no matter how good you are. So you want to make sure you have honest people that's giving you a review. And you want to make sure there's not fake people out there giving you a review. Some of the young people call haters. There's people out there got the same business, but they're envious because you're doing the right thing to bring in your clientele, and they think it's a competition. There's no competition. Even though a lot of times people use that word loosely, it's so many billions of people in the world that you have not even touched to be worried about how many customers that another customer has. Don't worry about that last customer. What you need to do, Every day that you come to work, every customer that you use, you need to think that that's a brand new customer, and you need to fight for a new customer like they're not going to come back again. If you have a mindset that you feel that this customer going to always be there, you got it all wrong. In business, you work as if you are a beginner. You work as if that customer is never coming back. You work to your fullest and your best like it's a brand new job. And success will come. You do it any other way and get comfortable with the same customers, they will disappoint you every time. So you still do the right thing by your customers, still give them quality service, but you're going to always have some that are straight. This is Beginner's Business Bloopers. I hope I gave you some information that you can use. And this is the end of episode 6. And so look forward for episode 7. Have a BBB day. A Beginner's Business Bloopers. BBB. And then I hope you enjoyed that popcorn. I use the acronym FUTA. FUTA you have seen either on a payroll stub or you probably just ignored it. But it is the Federal Unemployment Tax Act. It's a payroll tax paid by employers or employees' wages. I know the current year tax is 6.0. It has increased on the first $7,000 an employee earns. Now, I will say, to find out more about how to manage your FUTA, you would go to call the IRS, or you can go online and download the PDF. But if you want a hard copy, you probably have to call in or either order it online. The website irs.gov does have those publications. Any publication I mention about the IRS is either online where you can order it, or if you have a problem with being computer savvy, you can call in and the representative can help you get that publication out. It's a publication 926 concerning Federal Unemployment Tax Act, which is about, and I will let you know, it is so important to do your books right. Don't always rely on people or assume that they're going to get it right. You need to fact find yourself. I know a lot of time we hire people, but I'm going to mention a couple of companies that I do know that if you use their system, they automatically do the filing, the calculation based on the income when you use the source. And my link is squareup.com/I/FLYINKTATT. That's squareup.com/I/FlyInkTat. Square, as I mentioned before, is one of the software programs I use for one of my business, and they're excellent on producing your documents, filing them timely, but it takes you to bring in the income so they can record it for you. You don't have to worry about your 1099s, your W-2s. As long as you input the information correctly, they are a self-sufficient program. It's a self-sufficient program. I cannot stress that anymore. Now, if you need some calculation, there's other websites that can help you. NAV.com, they do have what are FUTA taxes and how to calculate. That is another website that I have recommended before to help you understand. You know, this is your baby. This is your business. Get to know about what you should be doing and not always depending on paying someone to do something for you. Because time to time, again, we have seen billionaires and millionaires get caught up trusting an individual. I'm not dismissing their job, but it's still your duty as a taxpayer, as a business owner, to fact find and verify that all your records are correct. Because at the end of the day, no matter how smart or how genius a person may be on being a tax preparer, tax lawyer, even a accountant, they make errors. They're not perfectionists. We do have genes. I don't want to discredit it. they can sometimes pass off of work and somebody else can make the error and they assume that it's right. Anything can happen. But even if they're doing everything perfect and they never make mistakes, you still need to verify what you're doing. Because if there's one lynch of error and if it's ever found, it still falls back on you. But I wanted to cover that acronym because I normally will call out different acronym, and I did not want you to go clueless. Like, what is FUTA? FUTA, because a lot of people would look at it on their paychecks, but they never knew what it's about. But it is a federal tax, unemployment tax, that is an act that was implemented in the government. It's one of those acts dealing with unemployment tax. So it's a requirement, it's a certain dollar amount. And if you have employees, whether if it's your wife, spouse, child, aunt, niece, family, whole family, I don't care who it is, in order to establish your business, you have to want to do it the right way. For everything to come out right in the mix correctly every time. Anytime you do anything else, any type of shortcuts, it will come back to bite you. So, always project a set aside money that's going to take care of your taxes, that's going to take care of your fees or anything that you may owe. Make sure you set aside for that. You don't never want it to come back to bite you, because interest and penalties is not something that you can't avoid, and unnecessary stress. Giving you clarity. If you paid cash wages to household employers totaling more than $1,000 in any calendar quarter during the calendar year or the prior year, you generally must pay federal unemployment tax on the first $7,000 of cash wages you pay for each household employees. However, don't count wages paid to your spouse, your child who is under the age 21, or your parent. Also, don't consider the amounts you pay to those individuals as wages subject to FUTA tax. Generally, you can take a credit against the FUTA tax liability for amounts you paid into state unemployment funds. So remember this. If you have employees and you're paying this FUTA tax, there's credits that can help reduce your credit reduction on state taxes. Your FUTA tax credit may be reduced. A state that hasn't repaid money if borrowed from the federal government to pay unemployment benefits is a credit reduction state. So there's instructions for a Schedule H, Form 1040, and or the 1040 SR, and there's or the FUTA credit reduction. You can go on irs.gov and provide those links. Then the question is that you should ask, well, is there a form that I should be using to file FUTA tax? The Federal Unemployment Act is, it's United States federal law that imposes the federal employer tax used to help fund state workforce agencies. But employers report that tax by filing an annual Form 940 with the Internal Revenue Service. So I'm giving you some major tips. So remember, the 940 is annual. So I'm giving you that tip for that form. There's other forms that's out there. There's quarterly forms as well. But I'm just giving you that tip on that. You need to be aware about the laws that is in place. The Federal Unemployment Tax Act is original legislation that allows the government to tax businesses with employees for the purpose of collecting revenue that is then allocated to state unemployment agencies and paid to unemployed workers who are eligible to claim unemployment insurance. So that is the purpose of the FUTA taxes. So when people get unemployment, it's because their employer have paid their portion of their FUTA tax to make it possible. And by them paying their taxes on that, it makes it possible for the employer to pay and the employee to receive. So doing things right, it'll all balance out. But that's if you're getting. That's if you're hiring employees. You want to make sure you follow this process. Now, the other question you may have, you may be wondering and pondering. You have a cloud up in your head. How do I get out of this? Or what is the dollar amount in wages not counted? Look under the heading, do you need to pay employment taxes? Under publication 926. It will give you the information on page 4 if you need to pay those unemployment taxes. So I gave you some tips